What is the fundamental principle for having engaged and motivated employees? I'll explain that and also provide an exercise you can do in this video. Hello, I'm Stephen Goldberg of Optimist Performance, bringing you practical tips and ideas on leadership, team development, and employee performance in the workplace. At the core, employees need to be engaged and motivated on the job in order to perform well. I'm going to start with a little questionnaire I wrote here just to get things going. In terms of employee engagement and job motivation, which do you think is the most important to address? Is it to create a supportive work climate where employees feel supported and appreciated? Is it to have trust and support from their leader, from their boss? Is it to have team member relationships that are like friends at work, so they feel a supportive climate from their fellow employees? Or is it the enjoyment with the work they're doing and having the skill set to perform it? Which of these are the most important, fundamentally? Well, all four are very important, but the most important is D. People need to enjoy the work they're doing, and they need to feel they're good at it and can continuously improve. That's really what you want to make sure you have or your employees have to be engaged with the job. That comes first. All the rest is important and will enhance that engagement. But if you're not enjoying your work, if you're not skilled at it, then you have a challenge to address. So I created an exercise. I actually did this with my assistant MJ recently, and I found it quite revealing. And basically what you want to do is go through each job task with your employees one by one. You don't do this as a group. I guess you could if you wanted to, but the way I structured this exercise is one by one. And I also made a worksheet exercise that you can download. You can get this form, fill in the tasks. It's a spreadsheet, so at the bottom there's a tab for the blank sheet, then there's an example, and I haven't yet done it, but I'm going to add a questionnaire on a third tab, so you could have a complete document. I did list some of the questions that you should ask or reflect on after you go through the exercise in the article that goes with this video. There's a link to that in the description, so you could check that out and do the full exercise. And what you want to do is really go through each task with the employee and have them score each one on a scale of 1 to 5. So 5 being the highest level of enjoyment, and this will tell you what tasks they enjoy the most and what they enjoy the least. Now, what I suggest you do, there's a column for this on the left. You do this on your own. You don't ask the employee to do that necessarily. You could, but I suggest you do it, is rate the level of importance for each of the tasks in terms of what contributes most to the results in the job that you expect. Don't show that to the employee because it's going to influence them maybe in their answers to their level of enjoyment. And there's a third column which is for the boss to fill out as well, not the employee, and that's the level of performance or accomplishment on a scale as well, from poor to excellent. So what you want to get out of this exercise is to see how the employee rates their enjoyment with each of those tasks that's part of their job description. And you want to correlate that between what you see as the most important task and how they're performing it. The outcome from this is really for you to understand better what engages each employee and what you can do to provide more of those tasks to them, especially if they're highly important for the job and if they perform them well. So how can they even contribute more? And what can you remove from them, or kind of like have them do less, either assign to somebody else or remove altogether. Sometimes people are doing things that don't have really high value, and maybe you don't need to have them do it, or somebody else can do it. This way you could provide highly important tasks that provide great return to the company, to you, and that the employee enjoys as well. And then you could also see how you could further their development through ongoing training with those tasks. The outcome is to have employees that stay engaged over time, they're developing, they're doing things they enjoy and that they're skilled at, and it's bringing a great return to the organization. So this is kind of like a strategic exercise in employee engagement. Of course, you could work on all these other factors as well. But if you provide those other things and you're not paying attention enough or discussing where the employee, where their job satisfaction, their enjoyment with the actual task and their competency is, then these things will have less of an impact because the fundamental is not in their sweet spot, I might say. So that's the exercise that I did with my assistant. I thought I would share with you and create this worksheet that you could work on. Now, here's a warning, though. To do this exercise, there needs to be a high level of trust between you or the boss and the employee so that the employee answers honestly and doesn't fudge it just to please the boss. You want to get honest, clear results so that you can engage in discussion, that you could base that to make decisions for delegation, assigning tasks, and for skill development as well. So I hope this is a good idea for you, something practical that you can take a little bit of time with each employee, start with one, see how it goes, and see if it's something that can benefit you, the employee. Of course, anytime you do engage in discussions like this with employees, you're actually working on number one and number two, where you're building that relationship, that engagement with the employee. And so it really addresses, three of these items on the list here. If you haven't already subscribed, do so now so you get news of new videos. Check out the article that goes along with this video, as I mentioned, and there's related videos you could check out as well. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk again soon.